Hello, my pre-algebra students. Thanks for logging on. This is just going to be a little short video to go over what we were going to review during class today. So a couple of things about the task list that was sent out to you, but you're going to need a formula sheet to do your homework, pencil, paper, calculator, and make sure you have access to Google. Okay? A couple of just reminders. We'll do some of this. We're obviously not doing Blackboard features for Collaborate. We don't need that, but we'll talk about grades a little bit. So just remember, if you're missing any work, to make sure that you email me to let me know if you've completed anything online, or if you have any questions, just send me an email. Please make up the work and then send me an email, or if you need a copy of something. If it's an online assignment, once you're done, you just email me that you finished it, and I'll update the grade book within a few days. Okay, so I'm going to review this question. This was the most missed question from the homework. So we're going to review this first. We're going to find the perimeter of this shape here, which is just a rectangle, right? 3 sides, and then there's also this semicircle here. So remember, to find the perimeter, we add up all the sides. This is a rectangle, so that's definitely 8 centimeters on the right side of that shape as well. The problem is, to figure out the yellow part, we need to find half of the circumference. So we're going to find the circumference, which we can just use our formula sheet for, which is either pi times d or 2 pi r. So we'll use pi times d, and then we're just going to divide it by 2, since it's only half of the circle, not the full circle, to get that distance around. So for this one, we'll be doing this a lot in class today here in this video. We're going to do the diameter of this shape is right here. That goes from one side of the circle to the other. And even though there's no number, if we look back and forth down here, the 5 is the same distance as this length is. So that means that the diameter must also be 5. And you can even see, let me kind of, I don't know if this is the right way to do this. No, it's going to like move the whole shape for me. But this measurement here is equivalent to this measurement here. Okay, so we're going to do 3.14 times 5, and I'm just going to use my cell phone because that tablet doesn't show Desmos on here anyway. So 3.14 times 5, which is 15.7. So that's the circumference if we had the whole circle, but since we only want half of the circle, we're going to then divide it by 2. Or multiply by a half, either one. And that way we're able to find half of it. So it should be half the amount, 7.85. So that means that from here to here is 7.85 centimeters. So now we're going to take each one of our side measurements, only the outside, so that little 5 on the inside is not going to count. So 8 plus 8 plus 5. So 8 plus 8 plus 5 plus 7.85. So that's going to be, let's see if I can get, plus 16, right, is going to be 28.85, which would be round, if we round to the nearest tenth, it would be 28.9. Okay. All right, so that was kind of, we were going to review over that. And then the lesson today was going to review over the Ed Puzzle number 2 that you watched, all about area of composite figures. So just as a reminder, we have 3, we want to always look at a shape when we're doing area, similar to how we looked at the shape when we were doing perimeter. You want to see what the different shapes are within it. So being able to make that identification of what shape is what. Then we're going to use the area formulas that the state provides for us. These will also be posted on the website under lesson number 2, area of composite figures. And you can also screenshot it here. It's on the Google Forms. It's everywhere. So use those formulas. You can also honestly Google this since you're at home. I mean, you can look up what's the area of a circle or a triangle or whatever. Okay, so that's going to be the area form. We're only going to use the ones that say A equals because we're finding the area, right? So there's that part. All right, so the first thing you want to do when you're finding the areas, you want to identify shapes and then what those dimensions are. You can kind of split this up really 2 ways. You can either split it up here or you can split it up here. And that would give us 2 rectangles for each one. So it's going to depend, it doesn't matter which one you do, you're just dividing it up. I'm going to split it up this way just because it was the second choice. So I'm splitting it up into this rectangle here, kind of my green rectangle, and then I'm going to split it up into this smaller square-ish looking rectangle, although we're not sure if it's a square. Never go by the pictures. You always have to go by the math, right? So if you look at this, the dimensions of the green, I'll just use a darker green, are right here. This is 6, so that matches that side, and that's 2. So to find the area of a rectangle, we do length times width. I'm just going to highlight this one. So we're going to do the area of the green rectangle, which is going to be 6 times 2, which is 12. So that's going to take care of the area of the green one. Then if we look, I'll just use this a little bit. This area here is, we don't know. It's not 5. 5 goes all the way to the top to the bottom. So we don't know what that one is, but we can figure it out. And then we have this area down, or this dimension down here. I'm saying area. I meant to say dimension. That dimension down there is 3 feet. So we have something times 3 feet is going to give us the area of this rectangle. If you remember from last week's lesson, the way that you can determine that question mark is we look at all, this is an up and down side. So we're going to look at all the sides that are up and down. I'm just going to use blue so you can kind of see it. So this is up and down. This is a measurement that's up and down, and this is a measurement that's up and down. So if we look at the up and down measurements, we have a 5, a 2, and a question mark. If you're missing a smaller side, you're just going to subtract the 2. If you're missing the largest side, you add the 2 smaller sides together. So we know from here to here is 2, so it's going to be 2 plus something gives you 5, that long measurement. Or you can just do 5 minus 2, and that will be 3 feet there. So now we know it is a square. See, we just kind of proved it. You can use side squared or length times width, it doesn't matter. So the area is 3 times 3, which is 9 feet squared. And after you do that, you just add them together. So 12 feet squared plus 9 feet squared is equal to 21 feet squared. These problems are multi-step, so it takes us a long time to do them, even a little one like this. All right, I'm going to do one more with you. And then we'll talk a little bit about what your assignments are for the rest of class. So this is 3 shapes. Hopefully you're able to identify the shapes. We have a semicircle, so I'm going to put that here. I'm just going to do that section over here. Then we have a rectangle in the middle. So we'll do the work for that in this little spot. And then we have a triangle here. Now again, a lot of times you're going to be missing parts, so you want to be careful how to find missing parts. Don't guess. You got to find it appropriately and mathematically. Okay, so we'll start with the semicircle. So a circle area, you can look at the formula sheet up here, is pi r squared. So that's the formula that we're going to use for this. But since it is a half circle, we have to divide it by 2. So whatever we get, we divide by 2. So the area is 3.14, so we use for pi. The 6 here is nice and labeled right on the diameter, but it is the diameter. So remember, diameter is equal to 2 times the radius. So we're going to divide the diameter by 2 to get the radius. So 6 divided by 2 is 3 squared, so the area is equal to 3.14. Order of operations, we got to do exponents before we multiply. 3.14 times 9, which is 28.26. Okay, then we're going to do the area of the green rectangle, which is length times width. So we're going to look very closely. Let me pick a different color. I'll use like gray. It's a little easier to see. This is going to be the length. This is going to be the width. So we need the exact number. So 6 is our length. And if you look side to side, 10 is our width. So the area of the rectangle is 60. Okay, so these are all important because we're going to do the area of each one. All right, and the last one's a triangle. So we're going to look here at our triangle formula. The area is 1/2 base times height. Just as like a little bit of information, the base and the height are always located around the right angle. So when you're trying to find which one is which, the base is always and the height are always located wherever that right angle is located. So there it is there. So always look for the two numbers that make that right angle. So if we look down here, we don't have actually any numbers around around our right angle, but we can find them. Don't worry. So 1/2, and then so the base is going to be this specific number. I'm just going to use like black. It's a little bit. There we go. It's going to be this. And our height is right here. Now, the height on this rectangle is the same as this marking over here is, so it's 6. So that's good news. We know what the height is. It's 6. The base is a little bit trickier because they're telling you 14, but 14 goes all the way across there. So we have to look what other sides go back and forth. The 10. Now we can use that information to figure out what that little piece is there at the end. A little side is missing. We know the total length is 14, so we're going to do 14 minus 10 to give us 4. So that's going to be what our base is. And then from there, we can do 1/2 times 4 times 6, which is 12. After all of that, we add up all of our areas, so 28.26 plus 60 plus 12 is, let's see, 60 plus 12 is 100.26. And I think this is inches, so inches squared. Alrighty. These are long stepping problems, so just make sure you're careful because you can kind of lose track of what you're doing where. Just as a reminder, you want to identify shapes, then find the dimensions, get the areas of each, and then add them together. Those are kind of your main few steps. All right, what you're supposed to do look at all the stuff we were going to do. It's going to be very exciting. You want to work on the homework number. It's not number 2. Is it number 2? Yes, it's on area. The Google Form homework number 2 and the Ed Puzzle number 3, which is on cones and cylinders. They're due before next week's class. Even if we're not meeting synchronously, which means all together, we want to make sure that we're completing these assignments the time that class was going to meet. So making sure that we're keeping on track. The homework for tonight, the Ed Puzzle, is going to be on surface area and volume. Do the Google Form first and then the Ed Puzzle second. Please stay healthy and we will see you all soon. Thank you for watching.